Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another awesome episode in the Full Stack Social course today. I really hope you're having a magnificent morning. Now, in today's video, I would like to talk about one of my favorite topics in computer science as well as application development. And that's the idea of performing some code refactoring to help us really clean up our code bases. Now, a lot of you guys are probably aware of this concept called DRY, right? It stands for Don't Repeat Yourself. And in the very last lesson, I showed you guys how to upload this profile image that is now going to belong on the user that's currently logged in. During that process, I copied and pasted some code, and now we have this issue of repeated logic in two different locations. To fix this issue, I'm going to help you generate a helper method that's going to extract all that logic into one location instead of two places. Once we have that helper method, I'll show you how to refactor that code base to invoke that helper method function. Now, this might sound a little bit confusing, I guess, but Sails makes it very easy to accomplish this entire task. And so to begin today's lesson, I would like to revisit our Visual Studio Code project right over here. And the current two files that I have open is update.js and create.js right over here. Remember in the last episode, whenever we hit the save button here, we're executing all of this logic. So update.js, we're trying to update the user. At the very bottom, we are actually uploading the file of this guy into AWS. You'll see starting from line 19, we're declaring all of our S3 options, such as the keys, the secret, and the bucket. And down here, we are uploading. At the very end, we get a hold of the file URL and then perform some update on the user. If you flip back into create.js, this is the action that handles the home and let's see, create post. Whenever I choose a file and hit create, we're executing all of this code here. Now you can see we are performing a lot of logic here that is now being repeated. So we have the AWS S3 options, the key, secret, and bucket, and also the uploading process right here. So this is never a good idea to kind of repeat all of this code. One of the major problems that can occur is, let's say you want to maybe modify the key and the secret, right? If you want to change these two values, you're going to upload it here or update it here, and then you're going to want to go to your other files, update it here and here. If you have a third page that also performs the same function, you're going to upload it there as well. So that's obviously a very bad idea, and it's a lot of work to maintain all that code. And also, let's say maybe you have a different type of bucket, right? So currently the bucket is probably something like bucket like this, full stack social bucket. Let's say you have some kind of dev or some kind of staging bucket, right? You're going to have to change this value everywhere inside of your project as well. So that's not a good idea. And what I would like to show you how to do is to generate a helper function that's going to extract all of the important logic inside of this code here and also here. And the common thing amongst these two functions is basically, I want to get a hold of the file URL after the upload process is done. Once I have the file URL, I can create this post object using the file URL instead of update.js. Once I have the file URL, I can actually update the user using this function here. So in order to get all of this process working, I'm going to kill off my application down here, Control C. And let's see, inside of your project, you're going to want to execute Sails generate. So generate and helper. I'm going to create this helper called upload file and just hit enter. Down here, it should tell you that you generate your file inside of API helpers and upload.js. So API controllers and helpers is down here. So it should be right here. And once you kind of refresh it, you'll see upload file.js like so. And let's see, further down below, they tell you how to utilize or make this function call using await, Sails, helpers, and upload file. And then there's another bit of documentation here as well. If you command click into the docs, you can follow that link inside of your browser. But it looks like we have our helper function created already inside of this guy. Let me now show you how to actually call this function. So I want to close out of that, give myself a little bit more space to work with. These two functions, or this upload file function right here, has these two things called a friendly name and a description. This is just for the developer to look at. I don't really care about that stuff. The important part is the inputs, the exits, and also this function here. I'm going to go ahead and modify the function of this helper method. And let's say console log and trying to upload a file with helper method. And that's all I want to say for this function now. With this upload file, I'm going to go back to, let's say, update.js. This is the action that gets handled when I hit profile and save. I am going to go above the options here, and let's try to ignore the code at the very bottom. I'm going to say await, and let's see, sales.helpers and upload file like this. All right, let's hopefully see the console being logged out with this statement right here. Every time I hit the save there, you should hopefully see something down below. We're seeing this big log statement, which I don't like, but you see trying to update user right here. So it looks like this guy update.js isn't exactly calling this just yet, but maybe let's confirm. I'm going to remove console log and file. I don't want to see this big blob inside of my console. So what's going to happen is I believe I'm actually executing a file is no op. Instead, I want to choose a file for the cheeseburger user. Let's go ahead and use this file here. Let's see screenshots, and let's use this one. All right, this guy is very different, but it looks like that. I'm going to hit the save right now, and you'll see we are trying to update the user here with the log statement down here. And then once we hit line 18, we are now executing some code inside of this function here. So trying to upload file with the helper method down there. Okay, so it's always a very good idea to confirm your functions are working with console statements. And this looks pretty good. I'm now ready to move on to something called the inputs. So this function, I'm going to declare something called a file, and this file is going to be type of reference like that. And this file is the file that I actually want to upload. You can give these guys descriptions as well if you really wanted to do so. The file the file I want to upload to AWS S3. In order to access this inputs file, I'm going to go down here and say cons file equals inputs.file. And let's say console.log, and here is my file. And then finally, let's also log out the file to make sure it is being correctly retrieved through the inputs here. So inputs.file. Once I have the inputs declared, I can go back to my helper method invocation for upload file, and I'll pass in the file from above, which should be whatever I select there. So basically it's this there. I am now going to go into the save here, and let's see, saving. We are going to now log out the statement here. Now, if you scroll up just a little bit, you will see the console log statement. So up here, we are trying to upload file with the helper method, and here is my file, and this is the actual log statement on line 27 here. Okay, this is how you get a hold on the inputs file. I don't really care about this stuff. And now what I'll do is I'll actually perform my file uploading here. So perform file upload, and inside of update.js, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the options over and just copy it right here. So these are the S3 options that we are using in the code. The next thing I'll do is I'll also copy the upload process, and let's see, enter, copy that. This looks pretty good to me. Inside of this helper method, right, I don't really want to update the user. I don't really care about this. This really belongs in update.js. So I'm going to remove this code here. And I don't really care about the record either. I don't have a hold on that. And I don't care about the user ID. All I care about is the file URL. Now, whenever you are inside of a helper method, you have to return this file URL using this bit of code called return exits and success. And let's see, return the file URL through exit success. I don't care about res.n. I don't think I need this either. So let me try to hit save right now. Now you can't really call this until you declare exits on this guy. So let me show you what I mean. If you hit the save right now, it's going to try to upload your file. It's going to tell you that exits doesn't exist, so exits is not defined. you want to declare exits inside of your helper function, and everything is now hooked up correctly. All right, so a lot of code, but now you can kind of call all this function right here. Just call this logic using the helper method of, let's see, sales.helpers and upload file. If you want access to the eventual file URL, you can simply say const and file URL equals all of that. And then let me just console.log, and here is my uploaded file, colon, space, and plus file URL. I am going to finally hit save, and let's kind of see everything work. And let me show you the magic right now. Clicking on the save, we're going to upload this file, so save, and you can sort of see what's going on. So save, trying to upload, and when it's done, here is my uploaded file here. If you command click into that, you'll load that image there. Okay, so that's pretty much the entire process of uploading your file using a helper method. And the last thing we need to do is, let's see, down here, we still need to update the user based on the file URL. And that's all of this logic. So let me go ahead and copy all of you. So let me just cut rather. And down here, once I have my file URL, I can paste all that code. This looks okay. User ID, update your record using that, and then log out your record here. I don't really care about this. And let's just say res.n. I'm going to save and rerun this function now. And hopefully I can update the cheeseburger user with this image instead now. Clicking on the save, we get the upload process to start off. We are now logging out the user here using line 26. And then finally, the cheeseburger eater now has the profile image of that. You can upload the cheeseburger image back if you wanted to do so. So let's confirm this works. It's going to refresh, and here is my cheeseburger. Okay, that looks pretty good. And what this really means is all the logic that we had previously being repeated. I don't need all that code, so let me just wipe that out. Maybe remove these comments as well. I don't really like seeing comments in my project, so that's kind of why I delete them. And now that everything is looking pretty good with this file, I can also take all of this code here and put it inside of create.js. So the goal of today's video was to make sure we don't have all of this repeated logic, right? You can now comment all this out. And the important part of this entire creation for the home page right here. So when you create your post object, right? You want to upload your post image file using this guy here. You want to maybe create it using maybe this guy. Doesn't really matter exactly what it is, but that's the file I select. I'm going to go inside of here. And let's type out the code again. So const file URL equals await sales. So sales.helpers.upload file. The file is going to come from above, which is this here. And I don't think I want to console log out the file, but once I have my file URL, I'm going to create the post object using this code. So I don't think I want the fetch. Let me do that, get that, delete that. I think I'm okay. I might need to pull the user ID, but let's see what the code looks like. So paste in here. Wait, user ID is this. So let me just type it out. Const user ID equals request session.user ID. Okay. File URL is that, image URL. This looks good to me. Let's say a res.end, and now I will save this create.js. So what's going to happen is whenever I, test upload, now, whenever I create this post object, right? So let's drag down a little bit. I believe this guy is really, really tall. Maybe this image is too tall. So let me just refresh this guy and try to upload a different image that's not that tall. So create, choose a file, maybe use, let's see this one. This one looks good. Let's go ahead and upload that. And let's say test, and let's say create. You'll see we are uploading the file using this helper method down here. And then finally, when everything is created, your post object is now being saved correctly inside of your AWS S3 bucket. Alrighty, everybody, that's going to be it for today's lesson. And now that you understand how to create these helper methods, you want to go through your entire application code base to make sure that anywhere that you have repeated logic, you want to extract that into its own separate helper method. Okay, hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Any comments or questions, make sure to leave them down below. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.